Hi students, I hope you can hear me and see me okay. Again, I apologize for the lighting, it's hard to get it exact, but I want to do a brief summary of the salient points for this week's readings, and a gentle reminder, your book report paper is due next week. This week, in local parentheses, women's colleges, HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities, has a number of readings, and one very funny Animal House video called Toga Toga. The readings are both primary source materials and secondary source materials, so I can't give any one great justice in this brief mini lecture without boring you, but I do want to stress several of them. Be sure to pay attention to Harper and Jackson, our textbook, chapter 6, external influences on curriculum and social cultural context, by authors Latuca and Stark. They've done a great job of spanning many decades of higher education and looking in particular at the undergraduate curriculum debates, which they say are really American history debates, and they're absolutely correct. Looking at undergraduate education, liberal arts versus the practical arts, technical education, if you will, vocational, the diversity of learners, the changes in the content, instructional processes, and right up to the accountability movement of today. And again, they're basing their look on the European model of the university that we copied, inherited, carried across the ocean, if you will, the pond, of the purpose being research, teaching, and service. And they fast forward near the end of the article with the reality is that now 60% of all baccalaureate degrees in the professions are in occupational fields. And that the biggest catalyst of change for the diversification of student bodies happened in the 50s with the GI Bill. Again, that's our textbook, and that's a really important chapter. Then there's some smaller pieces that are older and more historic. One on the what's known as the Negro College in America. Forgive me if that term is offensive to you, but that was the term of use among many higher education people for probably 100 years. There is a journal of the Negro education. This article you're going to see is a book review from 1933. It's quite good, and talks about the kinds of support that colleges for African Americans had from the federal government, from northern philanthropies, and from southern states. And then there's another article on the HBCUs with the talk about the founding of the United Negro Fund, which was a big and still contemporary resource for higher education for African Americans. Founded by none other than Frederick Patterson, who was the first president of Tuskegee University, which is probably, from my perspective, more well known in the American culture because of its role in being the training site for American airmen of African descent during the Second World War. Again, really good pieces of early history, and another one, Tradition of Their Own, on the story of the founding of Mount Holyoke College, which was the first of what became to be known as the Seven Sisters women's colleges that have a major influence even today. They did an interesting quote from 1969 of the esteemed Charles Eliot, who happened to say he was against coeducation, and that the research at the time said there was no great benefit. And of course, look at what's changed. So it goes to show you how short-sighted we can all be, and keep that in mind when you start to do your research, that as soon as you complete it, it could be outdated, but then again, you might be doing something very pioneer that will have longer lasting implications. Okay, fast forwarding, there's a tongue-in-cheek article, The End of Men, from the Atlantic Monthly. I thought was kind of interesting. Gives some very good data. 60% of all current master's degrees at that time are given to women, and the rise and influence of education for women. and also some late 19th century pieces on the Oxford, Cambridge degree for women, what became of college for women. Interesting pieces that, depending upon the topic of your interest, you might find an anchor piece or could lead you into something that might be more meaningful in terms of your own topic, okay? And then we get into the student development materials, particularly issues in academic ethics by Stephen Kahn, C-A-H-N, and talks about the original purpose of, in local parentheses, that it was to have authority over the students' behavior, ability to punish students for violations of college policies, and overall responsibility for student health, and the exemption from the limits of search and seizure by police forces for campuses, which became a big issue in the 1960s. Okay, so in summary, that's it. There's also more pieces by George Marston on William F. Buckley and sort of the role of religion in the curriculum that took place at Yale, which he had a founding influence on. And there's some interesting early pieces on student life. I think there's a student life handbook from the University of Massachusetts. So, in summary, that's the readings this week. The discussion board question is looking and comparing any of these materials with your own idea of what student life is at your current institution, or if you prefer to go back, look at the one from which you graduated. Okay? In summary, a little bit longer, almost 7 minutes. That's the salient points of the readings this week. Have a good week 4. We're halfway through the course, and you're all doing fine. Have any questions, please contact me. Thank you.